Hey guys, Cajun Cardboard here, coming at you from the great state of Louisiana with another good video for you guys. I think you guys are going to find this interesting. It's February 2nd, 2022, and I wanted to take a look at your most likely Eastern and Western Conference champions and the 2022 NBA overall champion. And tell you my thoughts on the matter, how we got there, who's got a chance, who's in the mix, who's favorited, in my personal opinion. And then some teams, obviously I'm going to put on the list, and we're going to go through those teams. They have no chance whatsoever. The first thing I'll say is, look, as you guys know, a lot of how this thing shakes out over the next, 3 months, 4 months is going to hinge on trades, health, and things like that. So we're going to talk through some of those things. Vaccines actually are going to matter, believe it or not. So we're going to talk through some of those things. I had to factor those things into my predictions. So I want to make sure we have an asterisk on that. A lot of these are going to hinge on everybody who's healthy, who's supposed to come back, coming back healthy, everybody who's out, staying out. No catastrophic injuries. Obviously, those types of things can shift teams' chance. Like Joel Embiid gets hurt, eliminate the Sixers from, hell, maybe even the freaking playoffs. They may lose 25 out of 30. So those kind of things can happen. So we got to take those things into consideration. But we're going to talk through some of that stuff. But without any further ado, let's get started. I've got the standings pulled up here. We're actually going to talk about the Western Conference standings first. Let me pull up my notes real quick here. Okay, so let's first start by talking about teams who have absolutely no chance whatsoever. And I want to hear your comments below. I want you guys to tell me at the end of this video, we're going to go through each conference, but at the end of the video, I'm going to give you my 3 teams as of right now. If I absolutely had to go bet $10,000, these are the 3 teams I would bet to win it in order. Okay, so I'm going to give you those 3 teams. It's not going to be surprising which teams I choose. I'm sure a lot of us are on the same page, but the order I choose them may surprise some of you. But first, I want to start from the bottom and work our way up. These are the teams in the West that I personally think have absolutely no chance at all. If any of you disagree with me and think any of these teams has a chance, please let me know. I am not going to make any friends. I know some of you guys are big fans of these teams. I am front running right now because I'm a huge Milwaukee Bucks fan and have been for a decade. So I'm actually sitting on the mountaintop. So it may seem a little bit smug coming from me telling you that your teams have no choice, but I'm just trying to be objective. Don't shoot the messenger. So teams that have absolutely no chance whatsoever in the West, starting from the absolute bottom, and it's no surprise, most of these are also at the bottom of the standings. The Houston Rockets have no chance of even making the playoffs. They're 27 out. The Oklahoma City Thunder, the Kings, the Spurs, the Pelicans, and the Blazers. Of those teams listed, I really like the Rockets backcourt duo of KPJ and Jalen Green going forward. Alperen Sengun's going to be a pretty good rotation player. Jayshawn Tate is a good poor man's Draymond Green type of role player. The Rockets actually have some pieces in place. They need to move John Wall. I doubt they get anything for him for his contract. They need to move Christian Wood and get something now. He doesn't help them. He doesn't fit the window of opportunity that the Rockets are going to have now that they've kind of chosen to ride with KPJ and Jalen Green. So that's my thoughts on the Rockets. No chance this year, but fun team to watch. Good team to watch on League Pass if you're an investor in their cards of the players on that team. A lot of young talent, fun to watch. Oklahoma City Thunder, everything I said about the Rockets applies to the Thunder. They've got a little more figuring out to do. Josh Giddey's great as a primary ball handler, but it looks like SGA is a primary ball handler. I don't know if Josh Giddey can be a full-time point forward, point guard type player. They could probably get a hell of a lot of value if they moved SGA, but they may want to try to play them both together. I don't know. That's my thoughts on the Oklahoma City Thunder. Darius Bazley's kind of underwhelmed this year. They got a bunch of relatively decent kind of bigs that run around and do some things occasionally. Jeremiah Robinson Earl and Isaiah Roby. Anyway, the Thunder have a long way to go. They got a lot of things to work out and a lot of things to figure out. Next on the list, no chance at all, Sacramento Kings. they'll win games here and there, and they actually started the season okay, kind of fighting for playoff relevance. Now they've lost 7 in a row. As you can see on the screen, they've lost 2 out of their. They won 2 out of their last 10. They're 6-18 on the road. They're just not any good. De'Aaron Fox is starting to miss games. I think there's a decent chance De'Aaron Fox gets traded. If you're a De'Aaron Fox collector, or if you're an investor, period, I think a De'Aaron Fox trade would really light a fire under his card values. If you look at him right now, his index especially, his cards are down. The hobby's kind of just forgotten about him, to be quite honest with you. Davion Mitchell, I don't think is the impact player that they thought he was going to be. Again, he's a baby, he's young, so I get it, even though he did play 4 in college, I think. The Kings are just not there. Harrison Barnes is on the block. Bagley's on the block. Fox is on the block. As usual, the Kings are in total disarray and chaos. No chance. And that's coming from them being one of my favorite teams to watch on League Pass, believe it or not. Again, Halliburton's a nice piece as well. I just don't know if he's an alpha, although he's put up some crazy numbers while Fox is out. San Antonio Spurs, interesting nucleus. They've got to make some changes. Too many of the same player. DeJounte Murray has had an absolutely insane breakout season. If there was any way for a great player to make the All-Star team from a not-so-great team, DeJounte Murray deserves it. His numbers this year are absolutely preposterous. Triple-doubles all over the place, near triple-doubles almost every single night. He's long. He's an elite defender. He's a potential all-NBA defensive team type player, maybe as soon as this year, even though his team sucks. They just got too many of the same guys. Derek White, DeJounte Murray, Lonnie Walker, Devin Vassell, Josh Primo. It's just all the same player over and over. And I don't think they have an answer inside. Jakob Poeltl's just a dude. He should be your guy coming off the bench to anchor your defense in situational stuff, but he's their starting center. Guys, I just don't see it with San Antonio. They've got to make some changes and move some players. My best guess is Lonnie Walker and Derek White get moved to a team that wants pieces. Both those guys, imagine Lonnie Walker and Derek White on the Lakers, how much that would help the Lakers and free up some space for Vassell and Primo to actually move forward in San Antonio. Anyway, just too many of the same player and not enough minutes to go around, and they're just not there. Keldon Johnson's a nice player, but he's a 6'5" power forward. I don't know who the hell he's going to guard at the 4 position in the NBA. That's going to be a problem. I just don't see it. Again, Keldon Johnson, nice player. Next on the list, totally irrelevant, New Orleans Pelicans. I don't want to talk long about it. Zion's not there. They have no chance. Ingram is being fantastic. He's in and out now with injuries, it looks like. Valanciunas continues to defy Father Time. Devontae Graham is underwhelmed. Nickeil Alexander-Walker has been horrific. Anyway, Pelicans, no chance. That's my home state team, so no bias there. They just have no chance whatsoever. Portland Trailblazers, no chance. Lillard's out. I'm not sure how long, but it's extended. My guess is they're probably just going to kill the season with him so he doesn't come back and re-injure anything. Simons is exploding. We've talked about that. He's one of my biggest prospects and one of my favorite players to watch. I really think he's special, and he's proven that right now, and his card prices are reflecting it. It's been a fun month to be an Anthony Simons collector and investor. CJ McCollum is always on the trade block. I mean, for years we've talked about CJ McCollum so they can make some room for Anthony Simons to get into the lineup, get on the court, and get some minutes. Nurkic is actually playing surprisingly well, but what happens every year? He gets injured. It's coming. Book it. I'm telling you, at some point, Nurkic is going to get injured again. It happens every single year, and the Portland Trailblazers' hopes are dashed. I feel bad for the Blazers fans because I think that team has totally missed its window. Can they make it in the playoffs? Absolutely. They're in the 10th spot right now, as you can see on the screen. So, yeah, there's a chance they can make it into the playoffs. So could the Pelicans. So could the Spurs. So could the Kings. It doesn't matter because those teams are going to end up doing the play, and then they're going to play Phoenix or Golden State and get the shit kicked out of them. Pardon my language, but that's what's going to happen. Okay, so we've got 2 teams. I've got 2 teams in the West that I don't have in my contenders, but I have as kind of next in line for 2 different reasons. And so the 2 teams that I have kind of as my 8th and 9th in the West, 8th and 9th best chance, are currently 7th and 8th in the West. Okay, so we've got the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Los Angeles Clippers. They are in my next in line for 2 drastically different reasons. Number one, the Clippers are in there because the world has forgotten they have Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, and that matters, okay? If they have a healthy Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, they're probably top 3 in the West, given the way the West has shaken out this year. Paul George is coming back, right? I think he's a couple weeks away. And then I just read a report that said there's a very strong, quotes, strong possibility Kawhi Leonard returns to the court this season. Which my guess is, if they're going to pull the trigger on this, remember he tore his ACL and some other shit in his knee last July. So we're pushing, 9 months, 7-8 months. And so, again, I don't know. Kawhi's never been the type to take chances with injuries or re-injuring things. He's always opted to sit out and manage his minutes and game management. He's basically the reason they created the term. So the Clippers are simply in my next in line to keep an eye on, because if those two dudes do come back, they're going to make the playoffs, it looks like. Almost certainly they're going to make the play-in. If those two dudes come back, that team becomes super relevant right away, especially given that all the guys that have picked up the slack for them have produced and are actually winning games. I have no idea. Marcus Morris, Reggie Jackson, Amir Coffey, Zubats, guys like that, they're winning games somehow without their two alphas. We'll call them co-alphas. So they're in the mix. Minnesota's in the mix for a totally different reason. They're young, they're energetic, they're athletic as shit. They've got a really interesting team. D'Angelo Russell's dinged up right now, so they're losing some games. They're struggling with him. They have won 2 in a row. They won 6 out of their last 10. They're going to make the play-in for sure. Anthony Edwards looks to be a future star, which makes me sad. I own 0 of his cards. His price point was just too high for me. He's not my style. It looks like he's a can't miss to me. He checks all the boxes: athletic, flashy, great with the media, seems to be a great teammate. Everybody loves him. He'll dunk on your face. He could always be a candidate for dunk of the year every single year after year. Karl Anthony Towns is an elite center. After Embiid and Jokic, you have to start talking about him. He's been buried in Minnesota because they've been irrelevant for so long. But if you take a close look at the metrics and the statistics, Cat belongs on the radar. He's another guy who's, it looks like Minnesota's kind of turned the corner, and so they have something in the nucleus so that he may stick around. But if that dude got traded to a team like, fill in the blanks, the Lakers, the Mavericks, for God's sakes, his card prices would go bananas, especially since he's high pop, high production Prism. So he comes from the pre-high pop era in the Prism era. So those are the two teams that are kind of in limbo. I don't know if Minnesota comes around. I think they could get in the playoffs, and I think they could win a play-in for sure. And then could they win a playoff series? I don't know. They'd probably end up playing like the Grizzlies, the Jazz, the Mavericks. I think they may be too young. You almost have to get there and get tested and lose before you can get over that hurdle. The Bucks are a great example of that. Jordan in his prime was a great example of that. They might just be too young and not have the experience to do it right now. These are the 7 teams, okay? So now we're talking about the 7 teams in the West that I think have a chance. I've got them in order, okay? We're going 7th through 1st. The Dallas Mavericks. I had the Dallas Mavericks on here because Luka's transcendent. He's fantastic. He's starting to mature. He's starting to figure it out. He's improved on defense. They have to do something to become a legitimate contender, okay? I have them 7th just because I think they're better than the Clippers and the Timberwolves. If Paul George and Kawhi come back, I do not think they're better than the Clippers. Or a lot of these teams in the top 7, I do not think are better than the Clippers if those two guys come back. But I have the Dallas Mavericks at number 7. Porzingis is just not the right beta to the alpha Doncic. He's just not. Tim Hardaway's hurt. I need to look it up. I'm not sure how serious, but it sounds like it's not good. I don't know how much time he's going to miss, or if he'll be back for the playoffs or what. Comment below if you know. But the Dallas Mavericks are 7th comfortably. The Grizzlies I have at 6th, okay? And here's where I start to take a detour. I don't just look at the standings. The Grizzlies have been incredibly healthy. They're incredibly young, so they're more of a regular season team than a playoff team as far as experience goes. John Morant has been off the charts. If you missed my video, go find it on my YouTube channel. I talk about John Morant as one of my potential MVP candidates, and you'll have to watch the video to figure out where I put him in the order, because I do rank my top 6 in order. But I will give you a little teaser. He is in the top 6. He's played out of his mind. He's become a great leader. He's no nonsense. He's all business. He's a true pro. He loves basketball. Everything about him just checks all the boxes, man. He's just fantastic. But I don't think the Grizzlies have what it takes from an experience standpoint. They're really balanced and they're fun to watch and they're very deep. They need Dillon Brooks back. He's injured right now, but I got the Grizzlies as 6th. 5th, I've got the Denver Nuggets. And you're probably wondering, why the hell do you have the Denver Nuggets ahead of the Grizzlies? The reason I have them ahead is because MPJ is... We don't know if he's coming back this year. I've heard yes, and now I think recently in the last 48 hours we've heard they're going to hold him out for the season. I don't know if that's because of what the record is, but they're in the actual playoffs. They're in the 6th seed right now. But I've got the Nuggets as my 5th and ahead of the Grizzlies and the Mavericks because it's my understanding Jamal Murray is close. He's really close. If he comes back and he's 100%, you saw what he did in the bubble, in those duels in the bubble. He is a next level point guard, guys. I mean, he's probably a top 5 or 6 point guard in the NBA. I need to make a list to make sure of that, but he's certainly a top 10 point guard in the NBA, and he would take a tremendous amount of pressure off Nikola Jokic. He's an elite three-point shooter, an elite ball handler, an incredible pick-and-roll player. He would take a lot of the pressure off Jokic. I don't know if he's going to come back 100%. He's not that far removed from his knee injury, so we just got to see where he's at. But I've got the Nuggets at 5th. Comment below if you think I'm crazy. I know a lot of people are going to say Grizzlies over Nuggets, whatever. You guys check it out yourself. The Nuggets have battled through injuries, and they're 13 games out of first. And so, like I said, some of these predictions, they're going to be a little bit of a caveat. We're going to have caveats on all of them and asterisks so I can cover my ass because there are a lot of things that change the outcome. I don't mean to make excuses, but man, look. Jamal Murray coming back is a big difference maker. Utah Jazz, they just lost Joe Ingles, I think, for the entire season. It sounds like it was a torn ACL. That's a big deal. He's a veteran. He's a solid rotation player. He does a lot of the ball handling for the second unit and a lot of the playmaking for that second unit. Jared Butler, Louisiana kid's going to have to step in and take some more minutes and do some things with that second unit now as far as ball handling and usage rate, I think. I've got the Jazz 4th. Donovan Mitchell's been out. I haven't paid much attention. I don't know if it's an ankle or what, but he's been out. Let me know in the comments what's wrong with him, or I can go check it out. Obviously, the Utah Jazz being my 4th choice in the West has everything to do with him coming back healthy. If he's not healthy and Gobert's not healthy, they have absolutely zero chance. So he's got to stay healthy. Conley is old as hell, so he's obviously got to stay in one piece. And Gobert and Bogdanovich. I mean, those are their 4. And then you got Royce O'Neal just to kind of be your poor man's Draymond. Your Matisse Thybulle for this team. That's just what Royce O'Neal's role is. So that Jazz starting 5 just has great chemistry. I don't know how much longer that window can stay open with Conley and Bogdanovich. I don't know if Royce O'Neal's enough. Donovan Mitchell has everything it takes to be a superstar in this league. If he could stay healthy, he'd probably be in the MVP conversation as well. Anyway, the Jazz are my number 4 team. They seem to always get there and seem to never do it. And so history does, factor into my decision to put them 4th. Number 3, and this is where all hell's going to break loose, I've got the Lakers. I'm not a Lakers fan. I think their chemistry is absolutely horrific right now. But I also think something is about to happen at the trade deadline. I don't know if they can move Russ. I know they say, everybody's disgruntled. He's confused. He doesn't know where he fits. We all knew this when Pelinka chose him over Buddy Hield and some role players. He made a bad decision. You should have surrounded LeBron with shooters. That's worked in the past. He needs somebody who doesn't turn the damn ball over. LeBron wants the ball in his hands. Russell has to have the ball in his hands to be effective. I can't figure out Russ Westbrook. I have no idea where that guy is going to fit historically as far as the hobby is concerned and card collecting. Right now, it's absolute chaos. And yes, the Lakers are in 9th. They're only 5 games out of totally missing the play-in. They are 4.5 games from being in the top 6 and assuring themselves of a playoff spot. But I just can't count LeBron out. He's having a fantastic season statistically. Again, go watch my MVP video to see where I have LeBron in my list in order. I've got the Lakers on there. Assuming a healthy AD comes back, even if it's Russ, AD, and LeBron, I think they're still my 3rd choice over these other teams. That's just me. I can't imagine the Grizzlies beating the Lakers with a healthy AD and LeBron. I understand the records. I understand we're looking at the standings. I know there's something to be said with that. I just don't see that happening. I just don't think LeBron would let that happen. Next on in line is the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns are far and away the best team in the West. I say far and away. They're 3 games up on the Golden State Warriors. They're 41-9, winning an 82% clip. They've won 10 in a row. The Warriors are not far behind, winning 8 out of 10 and winning 7 in a row. The Suns have won 11 in a row. The Warriors have won 7 in a row. So those two teams are really separating themselves from the Grizzlies and the Jazz in 3rd and 4th place. It looks like it's a 2-horse race to see who wins the West. I don't see anybody catching those teams unless I'm missing something here. I've got the Phoenix Suns as my second choice. They went there last year. They got experience. They check every box, and they're winning all these games. I think DeAndre Ayton is still hurt, and so they're winning these games with what's the guy's name? I think Jalen Smith or Jalen something, the dude with the goggles. They're doing it without their center, who's, borderline all-star level center, anchors their defense and has really come around offensively, Ayton. So they're doing it without him. When Ayton comes back, they're a pain in the ass. I mean, the Bucks saw them. They're a pain in the ass. You saw they ran through the West last year. The only difference is the Golden State Warriors. And so I have the Golden State Warriors first. This is actually a team, as a Bucks fan, that I would rather the Bucks see. I think it's tough to beat the same team twice, so I would rather the Bucks, if they get to the finals, see the Golden State Warriors. Historically, the Bucks have had very good success against the Warriors in the regular season. I don't think the Warriors have the interior rim protection to win the whole thing. I do think they have so much depth, so much talent, 1 through 10, that they are the prohibitive favorites to come out of the West right now. Again, if the Lakers go move Westbrook and pick up, I know he's injured, but like Bradley Beal or some bananas crazy move like that, obviously all of these things change, right? If LeBron gets hurt, they're out of the picture. If AD doesn't come back, the Lakers have no chance. The same thing can be said for the Warriors. If Steph's hurt, they have no chance. If Chris Paul gets hurt, no chance. So all of this is real tenuous. It depends on health and whatnot. But I've got the Golden State Warriors coming out of the West, guys. Just too much there. Even with Steph in a shooting slump, they've won 11 in a row. So that's my West, right? That's my West order. In order, Golden State, Phoenix, Los Angeles Lakers, Utah Jazz, Denver Nuggets, Memphis Grizzlies, Dallas Mavericks, and then the rest of them. I ranked 7 teams in the West. We're about to talk about the East. Let me know in the comments below if you think I'm nuts, if you agree, who you think your 1, 2, and 3 are in the West, assuming no trades and assuming no new injuries. But let's talk about the East. Okay, moving over to the East. Starting with the bottom. This is not going to be difficult. I think most of you guys are going to agree. These teams have no chance. Orlando Magic, Detroit Pistons, Indiana Pacers, Washington Wizards, and I've even got the New York Knicks in there with absolutely no chance, barring some massive trade. I've watched them. There's just no way. I mean, Julius Randle and RJ Barrett is your best player. You cannot beat the best teams in the East. The East is extremely top heavy with we're going to get there, but 3-4 teams with the potential to win the whole thing and beat anybody from the West. I just don't think the Knicks can play with any of those teams. I think they have absolutely no chance whatsoever. Orlando Magic, we don't need to talk much about them. If you're an investor and you like prospecting, there's like 7 dudes to go invest in. Detroit Pistons, same thing. It's the Cade Cunningham show. Sadiq Bey's come along, nice young player. Frank Jackson's having a nice year as a rotation player and kind of showing up and being relevant. But, I mean, dude, come on, the Pistons have no chance. They're in rebuild mode. The Washington Wizards started out like gangbusters this year. Everybody's like, oh, it's just working. It's just great chemistry. They've really hit a rough patch lately. They've lost 6 in a row. They've dropped out of contention for even the play-in game. They're only one back of the play-in, but now Beal's hurt. It sounds like it's not going to be a quick turnaround for Beal. Without Beal, they have absolutely no chance whatsoever. I don't have much else to say about the Wizards. The Pacers, the same thing. The Pacers just have no chance. They're good but not great, and they're actually terrible this year. But every year prior to this, they've been kind of good but not great, which is terrible in the NBA because you never get that pick, right? You never get that stud. Duarte's a nice rookie. He's really old, but a nice rookie. Having a decent season. Brogdon's a solid point guard, but they just don't have the alpha guys to do it. So the Pacers are also no chance. We talked about the Knicks. Okay, so in the East, I only have 5 contenders, And then I have 5 teams as next in line. So like I had the Clippers and the Timberwolves that are just on the outside looking in as far as contenders, I have 5 teams like that in the East. And these may surprise you. The Toronto Raptors, they're confusing people, right? The Raptors are playing a totally different brand of basketball. They've got a bunch of 6'8 to 6'10, maybe 7-foot guys that can guard like 3-4 positions. They're really versatile on defense. Precious Achiuwa, Scotty Barnes, Chris Boucher is a good shot blocker. Siakam, all those guys are similar, long, athletic, really intelligent. OG Anunoby is a plus-size shooting guard who's an elite defender. The only little guy they have is Fred VanVleet, and believe it or not, even though he looks like a little dumpy dude who's not very athletic vertically, that dude's a really good defender. And I think he got there and got to the level he's at because of Kyle Lowry. He reminds me of a younger Kyle Lowry, to be quite honest with you. So, anyway, that's my Toronto Raptors take. You know, they're next in line. They're not really looking to trade or make any big splashes, I don't think. And so I don't think they can contend, but they can get into the playoffs and cause a problem for some of these teams if they get hot because they're unique and they're an interesting team and they're real flexible and versatile. And Nick Nurse is a really good coach. The Boston Celtics I have as my next in line. I don't have them as a top 5 contender because I think they're missing a point guard. I think they got to go out and make a trade. I don't know if they move Jalen. That probably scraps the season, but that's some of the talk is that they may think about moving Jaylen Brown, who, again, from an efficiency standpoint, has outperformed Jason Tatum. Every year people talk about Tatum. I get it. He's a good player. He's a really good offensive player. I just think Jalen's a better all-around player overall, top to bottom. They're talking about moving him. If they move Jalen, I don't know if they can bring in a point guard and some pieces or whatever in time to get the chemistry right to be a legitimate contender. So I've got them in my next in line. Now look, you can scrap all this and throw it out the window if they keep Jalen and Tatum and then somehow go out and get a monster point guard who can fit under the cap, then, you know, they become really relevant, you know, and so that's one of those asterisks with the caveat. So I've got them in next in line, but if a big trade happens, you never know. Atlanta Hawks, same thing. Good but not great. You know, they had that great run in the playoffs. Trae Young loves the big stage. John Collins is a good but not great player. You know, Capella's a nice rim protector, but provides no offense. He's really just a rim runner, alley-oop dunking big who can play some really good defense. You know, they moved Cam Reddish and replaced him with Kevin Knox, who hasn't really done anything yet. Kevin Huerter's a decent wing. DeAndre Hunter really is the X factor for that team. We know he can be an elite defender, and he's shown great flashes of brilliant defense. But the question is, can DeAndre Hunter turn into Kawhi Leonard on offense? Can he improve his offensive game every single year he's in the NBA? I don't know if he can or not. I don't think the Hawks have quite enough to do it. They ran into a wall last year, and it just wasn't quite enough. They thought they had a chance when Giannis went down with the injury, but I just don't think the Hawks are there. They're in my next in line. They're fun to watch on League Pass because Trae Young is just magical to watch with the ball. I mean, he's top 3 in the league in points, top 3 in the league in assists. I think he may have dropped out in points, but having a really great statistical season, and he's an all-star, obviously. And this is where people are going to get pissed at me because everybody loves the media darling and the Cinderella team. I've got the Cleveland Cavaliers as a next in line team. And honestly, on this list, you know, I think they have the least chance of winning the East. I just don't see it happening. Like I said, young teams are great in the regular season. So the same thing I said about the Grizzlies applies over here to the Cavaliers. Darius Garland is next level shit, man. Darius Garland is an all-star. Anticipate he's going to be an all-star for a very long time. My closest player comparison for Darius Garland is Kyrie Irving. I think they share a ton of similarities. I think Garland is probably a more willing passer. I don't know if he's a better passer because, you know, he's going to put up much bigger assist numbers. He's a more willing passer, and he's a little bit less aggressive on offense than Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving tends to impose his will on the game offensively from a field goal attempt standpoint. Garland's not there yet. I don't know if he's ever going to change into that, but Darius Garland is elite. If you're not sure yet, you better get sure because he ain't going anywhere, fellas. Again, I'm a huge fan of Darius Garland. I got a few of his cards, not a crazy amount, but I think very, very highly of him as a prospect. So I've got the Cavaliers not quite there. Mobley can't play offense. I know everybody loves Mobley, and people are talking about the next KG and the next Anthony Davis. Guys, I don't see it. I see a really long, frail, intelligent basketball player who wants to contribute. He strikes me more as a Porzingis than a KG or an AD. His frame is very thin. I mean, he's going to need to put on a hell of a lot of weight to do the things that people are expecting him to do. He's definitely got a chance at Rookie of the Year because he's playing on a team that's really successful, and he's a big part of it because defensively he really matters. I just don't see it offensively. Maybe he develops and gets there, but I watch him. He's got a high center of gravity. I just don't see him moving laterally well enough to be an attacking four. Maybe he turns into a true post player, but if you watch games, he gets his ass handed to him by bigger power forwards and especially centers. He's really got to eat a sandwich, man. He needs an endorsement deal from Subway, and he needs to eat a hell of a lot. Again, super talented. I don't see the crazy, I think Bill Simmons said if he doesn't make the All-Star team this year, he'll make it the next 10 years. Man, I'm not there. Rarely do I disagree with Bill Simmons, but I am not on the same page with that. That's it for my next in line. That's Cleveland. We didn't talk about Charlotte. Charlotte's in my next in line. Again, same issue. They don't have a big, man. You can't. You're just not going to get there with Plumlee. Rozier is not a really efficient player. LaMelo has been spectacular. He probably should sneak into the All-Star game, I think, because his statistics are filthy. He's actually shooting the ball at a really good percentage, which I was shocked because I see the shots he's taking, and then I look at his shooting technique, and it's disgusting with his little, like his feet are touching like a girl, and he's turned sideways. He brings the ball up from the wrong side of his body and he flicks it. It's just really weird looking, but the kid can actually shoot the ball. And from a passing standpoint, he is special. I wasn't sure when he first came if he would be able to play defense. The kid's special, and he's 6'7", so he's got plus positional size. LaMelo Ball is here to stay. He is a franchise cornerstone and a foundational piece, and he is going to make a lot of All-Star games in a row. Everything Bill Simmons said about Mobley definitely applies to LaMelo. He ain't going anywhere. I think he'll make the All-Star team this year, as will Garland. Miles Bridges has had a huge step forward this year, obviously, as you know. I don't know why, but they're talking about Gordon Hayward trade talks to the Pacers. I don't know what they'd be getting back from the Pacers, but maybe there's something to be said. Obviously, a huge trade that brings in another star to the Hornets would make a difference. And when I say star, I mean Sabonis is close. And so if Charlotte can make a move involving Hayward for Sabonis, now you're starting to, that's a spark. He's a borderline all-star type player who puts up great numbers. He's totally forgotten because he plays in the heart of America in Indianapolis. But you bring Sabonis in with Miles Bridges and LaMelo Ball, and now you've got a real young, nasty trio right there, guys. That's the start of something special. I guess that's who they're talking about when they talk about trading Hayward. I don't know what sense that makes for the Pacers. They would have to get some picks in that deal and something else. So I don't know. And then the Martin twin, he's having actually a really good season for the Hornets as well. He's a really relevant rotation player. I just don't see the Hornets there yet. Okay, so they're out. So now we get to my top five. This is where I'm going to piss everybody off. I'm going to piss off Midwest Vintage because I'm going to have the Chicago Bulls as my fifth team in the East, most likely to win the East. They are first in the East. Okay, so I'll be the first to admit it. They've just now finally started to have some injury concerns. So DeRozan and Levine is the attack mode. Lonzo is a problem. Really, the Bulls' chances in the East hinge on Lonzo. If Lonzo's not healthy 100%, they have no chance. Okay, I'm just going to tell you right now, there's no chance the Chicago Bulls come out of the East without a healthy Lonzo. Did you think I would say something like that 2 years ago or 3 years ago when everybody was pissing all over Lonzo and said he was terrible because he couldn't figure out how to play with LeBron? He rejuvenated his career and showed what he could do in New Orleans. And then when he got to Chicago, he was the huge missing piece and spark that Chicago needed this year that vaulted them to this 32-18 record. So I don't have the Bulls a legitimate contender. Vujacic is a good offensive center. I don't think that the Chicago Bulls have the rim presence to stop a team like Milwaukee or the Nets or even the Heat. Those are teams that love to shove it down your throat at the rim, especially the Sixers as well. Who's going to guard Embiid? Embiid is going to put Vucevic in a torture chamber, as Shaq would say, barbecue chicken. That's not good. And so the four teams that I have listed ahead of the Bulls that we're about to talk about all would be huge problems for the Bulls in a 7-game series. Fourth on the list is Philadelphia. They can't do it without Simmons. Okay, so I've got them ahead of the Bulls. I don't know where I would have Philadelphia if they don't have Ben Simmons back or somebody that they receive in a trade before the deadline for Ben Simmons. I like the development of Tyrese Maxey. I like Tybal as a 3-and-D guy, even though he's not really shooting the ball super well. He is an extremely elite defender. He is definitely making an All-NBA defensive team this year, no doubt about that. He's also a really cool kid. If you haven't watched yet, watch the JJ Redick podcast, Old Man and the Three. They do a really cool interview with Matisse Thybulle. You can't watch the video and not like Matisse Thybulle. Super sharp, intelligent kid. So I've got the Sixers at 4th. Embiid's playing out of his mind. They're 1 game back of the Bulls, and that's without an all-star, without one of the 5 best defenders in the entire NBA, without a 6'10 point guard. In my opinion, Ben Simmons is better than anybody on the Bulls. I mean, you can talk about DeRozan, you can talk about LaVine. Ben Simmons affects the game on the defensive end. I know he had the disappearing act last year in the playoffs. I know he's a baby, for lack of a better word. He's a drama queen, whatever. He dated a Kardashian, so he's cursed. I don't know, man. Look, I use the word dated. I don't know if that's the right word for it. But anyway, Ben Simmons matters. If Ben Simmons comes back, I've got the Sixers ahead of the Bulls. Next in line, I've got the Heat, okay? I can't stand the Heat, okay? I hate the Heat from the year that they knocked the Bucks out. I am not objective when it comes to the Heat. I do not like them simply because they beat the Bucks that year that they shouldn't have, and I think it cost Giannis the title, his what would have been his first title. But I've got the Heat in there because what people forget is here the Heat are. They're 32-20. They're 1 game out of first, and they're missing Victor Oladipo. A healthy Victor Oladipo inserted into the Heat's lineup is just ridiculous. He is not just some dude. Victor Oladipo is a fantastic basketball player. Again, lots of injury concerns with him. I'm assuming a healthy Oladipo comes back. The Heat become a very big problem and a very big challenge for the Nets and the Bucks. Okay, so that brings us to number 2. And the other thing is Kyle Lowry is a fantastic piece to have on your team in the playoffs. And we've seen what Jimmy Butler does in the playoffs, right? He goes into psycho mode, and he's a very good player. So Lowry and Butler leading that team with Adebayo, and you got your shooters and Duncan Robinson and Hero who can start or come off the bench and, fuel your second unit. Dude, that's a really good team. This Gabe Vincent dude's turned into a pretty good rotation player as well. So the Heat are 3rd. Number 2, I've got the Nets. It's no surprise. I'm going to try to explain this from an unbiased perspective, but as you know, if you watch any of my videos, I'm very biased. I've got the Nets number 2 because as of right now, Kyrie will not be able to play in road games. That matters. I have a suspicion that vaccine mandate law in New York, and this is based on nothing except common sense, that may change if this Omicron thing passes as soon as we think it is, based on what we're hearing from South Africa. I'm not going to get into all the politics of all this crap. I don't want to talk about it. There's enough negativity and arguing going on in the hobby and in the world generally. If Kyrie can play every single game, I may reset this order despite the fact that I'm a Bucks fan. But the one thing I keep going back to with the Bucks and the Nets is the Bucks like to pound people. And Harden's not a great defender, and Kyrie is not a great defender, and Drew Holiday is a bully, and Giannis is a bully. And Giannis can bother Durant as much as anybody. Not that anybody can really affect Durant. The other thing is Durant's not there. I'm not sure how many weeks he's out. We got to assume he comes back healthy. Obviously, if Durant's out and Kyrie's playing half the games, they have no chance whatsoever, in my opinion. But I've got the Bucks number 1. So that's it for the Nets. I've got the Bucks number 1. The Bucks are a much better team than they were last year. Bobby Porter's re-signed for pennies. Maybe the best signing in the entire NBA. Finally, my guy Budenholzer has realized that the team may actually be better with Brook Lopez not in the starting lineup. Portis does everything. He's a very good three-point shooter for a big guy. He's significantly tougher than Brook Lopez. He's an enforcer. Just a really good all-around piece for the Bucks. And there's some other pieces that the Bucks picked up that I really thought would help a little bit more, like Rodney Hood. DiVincenzo's back healthy. He wasn't there last year when they won the title. Grayson Allen, as much as I despise him, he's on my favorite team. He matters. If you can move him into the bench, he's a nice piece who can do a bunch of different things on that second unit, including, commit flagrant fouls. I just think the Bucks have everything top to bottom to win the thing again. They're better than they were last year, so I don't know why I wouldn't pick the Bucks coming out of the East unless the Nets have everybody healthy, which they don't right now. So that's my order in the East. So to recap, in the West, I've got Golden State, Phoenix, and the Lakers in order. In the East, I've got the Milwaukee Bucks, the Nets, and the Heat in that order. Again, Tons of caveats, tons of asterisks. Yes, I'm making excuses, but you guys know injuries dictate everything. Injuries oftentimes dictate who the NBA champion is. See Toronto Raptors. Okay, so let's get to the nitty-gritty. If nothing changes with trades or injuries, these are my top 3 teams in order. Who I think right now is most likely to win the NBA title. Right this second, based on what we know as far as injuries go and whatnot. I've got the New Jersey Nets as my 3rd choice, okay? I think they're the 3rd most likely to win it. I'm going to pull up the Vegas futures over here so we have it in front of us. I've got the New Jersey Nets as the 3rd most likely favorite because I think Durant will come back healthy based on what I've read. I think the mandate's going to change, which is going to allow Kyrie to play, and Harden's had a really good season, believe it or not. So with those big 3 in place, I have them as 3rd. I don't know if they would be 3rd on my list if you told me right now, no Kyrie Irving for half the games. I don't know. I'd have to rethink that. But assuming all big 3 of them are there, I have them there. I still have the Bucks beating them. Call me crazy, call me a homer. Well, I am a homer. Call me subjective. I have the Bucks beating the Nets in a 7-game series. I just do. I think that the matchup is a problem for the Nets. I don't think they have the interior defense that they need to stop the Bucks, who are a team that, yes, they shoot a lot of threes, but they shoot a hellacious number of dunks and layups as a result of my man, the Freak. Middleton has the mid-range game to be special, and now you've added Portis as an elite 3-point shooter, Grayson Allen, who can shoot the 3, DiVincenzo's back, who can shoot the 3 and guard his ass off to help guard Kyrie and Harden. I just think the Bucks have everything they need to win the thing, man. That's just me. It does hurt to lose P.J. Tucker. I never thought I would say that. It hurts to lose P.J. Tucker and his toughness because he really did matter in the playoffs, and even though Durant gave him like 50 every game, he made him work, and I think he wore Durant down. That's it. So I got the Bucks number 2. Number 1, I got the Golden State Warriors. I think if the Warriors get Wiseman back, that really matters, okay? I have them first, assuming that Wiseman comes in and Wiseman plays. I don't think the Golden State Warriors can beat the Bucks or the Nets with Kevon Looney as their center. They have to get Wiseman or a trade, of course, obviously, but they have to get Wiseman back. Not because I think Wiseman's the second coming, but I think he's giant, number 1, and he's athletic, and he gets in the way, and he provides rim protection more so than Kevon Looney. Kevon Looney is a great positional defender, but he's ground bound. The Golden State Warriors do not have anybody else really to protect that rim. So unless they make a move to pick up some center out there who's a rim protector, I just don't see Golden State winning it. But I'm going to pick them because I think Wiseman's supposed to be back, and he'll get in the lineup, and he'll get 25 games in, and I think he'll get acclimated, and I think he's going to be that boost and that little extra oomph that gives the Golden State Warriors what they need to win it, because they got everything else except that inside presence. And Wiseman doesn't need to be an offensive player. They're not going to dump the ball into him and let him go to work. But what they will do is he will protect the rim. He will rim run. He's going to be a pick and roll guy. He's been sitting there learning this whole time, so it's not like he's been on an island somewhere. He's been watching and learning and listening, and I'm sure Draymond's in his ear. So if he comes in and gets 25 games under his belt, I think the Warriors are going to be a pretty big problem. Let's look at the Vegas odds. Let me get my face off the screen. How do I do this? Here we go. Okay, so Vegas odds. Vegas has Brooklyn as the favorite. Okay, I had Brooklyn as 3rd. They've got Golden State as 2nd. I had them as 1st, and they've got the Suns in there ahead of the Bucks. To me, that's nuts. The Bucks are better than last year. The Suns are the same team. I'm not aware of the Suns making any drastic changes that would vault them over the Bucks, especially when you consider the Bucks are better with Portis than Lopez. The Bucks have added DiVincenzo. The Bucks have added Grayson Allen. The Bucks have added Rodney Hood. I think the depth of the Bucks, I think it'll put him over the top. I mean, Giannis is better than he was last year, and that's crazy because they couldn't do a damn thing with him. He put 50 on them in the games, in the last game of the finals. I just think the Bucks are too much. And then look, they've jumped on my bandwagon here with the Heat. They've got the Heat at plus 1,200, but they've got the Heat as their 5th most likely team to win the title. They're probably thinking what I'm thinking. This is Vegas I'm talking about, which is if Oladipo comes back, holy shit, look out. This team is deep, deep, deep with lots of people that can score from lots of different ways. At the rim, they can score on all 3 levels. At the rim with Adebayo, mid-range with Jimmy Butler, who's a great mid-range player, and Tyler Hero can score at all 3 levels. And then season. Kyle Lowry is a great leader, a great playoff player, and a great defender at the point guard position. He's really a pain in the ass in the playoffs, let me tell you, from a Bucks perspective. So that's what Vegas has. This is, you've seen what I have. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know if you think I'm crazy. I can't believe this video ended up running. What did the video end up going to? 45 minutes. Like I said, I could talk forever, guys. We could talk about the Orlando Magic for an hour, for God's sakes, if you wanted to. So stay tuned. Thank you for subscribing. If you've already subscribed, if you watch the video and you like what I have to say or you like my content, it's always NBA basketball or NBA basketball cards. That's it. You're not going to hear me talk about anything else because I don't know anything else. I don't think I know more than anybody in the world about the NBA or the NBA basketball. I live in Louisiana. I just need somebody to talk to. So here I am talking to you guys, and I appreciate you all listening if you made it this far in the video. Do me a favor, hit the subscribe button if you haven't. Hit the lovingly caress the like button. It helps me with the YouTube algorithm so we can grow our subscribership and reach more people, which is more fun because that gives us more comments, which leads me to my third request. Please leave a comment if you don't mind. It's fun for me. I've responded to every comment I've ever gotten. I don't know if I can do this forever, but with 190 subscribers, I can. And so, and a lot of you have messaged me on Instagram with very kind messages or questions or thoughts. You're always welcome to share those thoughts in the comments. You're certainly always welcome to message me on Instagram. I get back to everybody that messages me anytime. If I'm asleep, it's because I have a wife and 7 kids. But I will get you back the next morning. I know a lot of you guys are night owls. That's it, guys. Stay positive. Happy collecting. Enjoy the hobby, and peace.